It's composed by Tony. We think it's beautiful. Thank you. You may stay on the stage or whatever you will make you most comfortable. They're going to scoot on off. I see that. I checked with a couple of them this morning because they are musicians. They certainly know about the vibration and frequency of music, which is of God, isn't it? We know how so many pieces the music is played, and just like that, oh my goodness, what a beautiful, sacred piece of music. We're thinking of so many things that the music that we listen to and how it makes us feel. And there is a frequency, and there's been a lot of research done about it, that some believe the frequency of God is something like 962 hertz or something like that. And to go right along with it, there's been a lot of research by Stephen Hawking and others who talk about Christ consciousness would be at a level of 1,000. Pretty close, isn't it? Quite a coincidence. They would be at the same frequency. But I'd been thinking of the song that Leonard Cohen wrote probably 20 or more years ago, maybe. And it's called Hallelujah. You all know it. They say that David played a chord and it pleased the Lord, right? I've wondered for so long what that chord was because I want to play it too. If one of you wants to sing it, you're welcome to, but no, they said no. You know the song I'm talking about. Alleluia. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Because of the words, it's not frequently, the lyrics aren't used in church because there's some pretty out there lyrics that go with it. But I asked Charles his interpretation of what Cohen was talking about when he said the major chord, it's written in the key of C, which is major chord, and then he talks about the fourth, the fifth, and the minor fall, the major lift. And so I think any of us that know anything about a keyboard or music would try to interpret that, and it's not easy because it doesn't always fit right along with it. So I asked Sherry when she came in what her interpretation is, and she said, well, just about the same thing that actually the major chord and the fourth and fifth were historically for centuries to be known as chords that were pleasing. Isn't that nice? Pleasing chords. And of course we know some are discordant, right? And there was a time when it was even illegal to play those chords, those notes, because they were discordant. Interesting, huh? Interesting. And so that's some history from hundreds of years ago, just not something recent. But we do know there's something so sacred with the music, and when it's played, like, some of the songs they perform sometimes, the melodies, the harmonies, the strings, your body can hardly contain it. And you reach this level of God realization that you feel like you're actually above your body and listening in. And that's the beauty of what music does to you, isn't it? And thank you, by the way, each and every one of you musicians. And so I'll do a poll later and find out what Rick thought too. And Tony, I didn't get around to their thoughts. But let me tell you what my husband, who is not a musician, couldn't sing on tune if he had to, but here's what he had to say. he said, well, you know that Cohen was going through a bad relationship and a breakup, and he was just trying to make sense of it. So he threw in there all the information about King David and his bad relationship with Bathsheba and all this other stuff. So that's all it's about, a bad relationship. I said, oh, okay, well, that too. So, yeah, that makes sense too, doesn't it? But and when you read the lyrics, you can see the sense in that too. So it's a combination. But what we wanted to talk about today was the vibration of God, and I don't want to get off on too many different rabbit holes in doing that. And that's easy to do because it's a huge subject. We know how a tornado in your life, how it just, a tornado acts at not only devouring your own energy, but the way a tornado acts out there in the world is that it will suck in every bit of trash in the area, won't it? Every single thing there is out there, it will suck it in. And it's the same way with us. If we allow a tornado into our lives, and we're going to allow all this junk and negativity to come into our aura. And we don't want that. That's the one thing that we don't want. We notice when our lives are going well, everything's perfect. Oh gosh, we're in harmony. Everything is so good. And then something inharmonious comes up and we don't know what to do with it. What did I do to bring this on? Sometimes they're just life events and challenges, and we make our way through them the best way we can while clinging to. Does that mean we let go of that God vibration? No. It means that at this moment I have a bit of pain and loss in my life. And it's going to take some time for me to work through that. Because the last few weeks we've been talking about our senses and our feelings, haven't we? We've been talking about the sight and sound, hearing, the touch, feel, all of those senses. And then last week we brought in our feelings and how something makes us feel and how important that is to our lives and being able to relate to this. How does this make me feel? And what am I going to do about it? Is there something I can do about it to make myself feel a little bit better? There's that emotional scale that starts with, at the bottom, it's a dark, somber color, and it's disappointment, despair, discouragement, all those different feelings that we can have. And you can just take one step up onto the next level, whatever that is, and feel just a little bit better than despair. Maybe you're disappointed instead of feeling despair. That's good. Or depressed. Disappointed is better than, we're all disappointed, aren't we? So sometimes you need to take that emotional scale and work yourself up from it till you get maybe to the middle. You're sort of content, a little wary maybe of what might happen, but you're in a level where you can stay content. Move on up that chart, that emotion chart, through joy and peace and all the harmony, all those good things we want to feel. And that's when we're moving on up toward the consciousness, the vibration of God. I spoke to a woman not long ago that every night before she goes to sleep, she puts on headphones and she listens to a certain tape or recording every night. And it's what I was talking about a few minutes ago. It's a certain hertz. And I can't remember if hers was the highest. I can't remember exactly what it was, the music on it. And sometimes it can be an African American beat. It can be a drum. It can be strings. Whatever is on that beat. And she said that it will first bring her to a place of euphoria and then into the deepest sleep that she could ever have. Isn't that wonderful? So I recommend that. If you have trouble going to sleep, if you have trouble getting rid of your negative thoughts at night, you might try that. She said it works for her. And so you might try that. We have next door to us, we have a dog that barks all night long. Just about drive you nuts. I put a pillow over my head, and Dan snores loud enough that he doesn't hear it. So anyway, it's very unpeaceful if you allow that to happen. We've found ways that we can. He keeps thinking of some ways that I keep telling him, no, you're not going to do that. You are not going to do that, Dan. You're a kind person, remember? You're not going to do that. But there's some things like that that are just so inharmonious. And the one thing that we can do in our lives, actually, is that, and we can do something about that too, and we will. It just hasn't gotten to the point where it's bothered us that much. But we can and we will. And that's a case where someone else's disharmony can interfere with yours. And that's where you have to make a conscious decision of what you're going to allow into your lives. So right now, though, I want you to do something. I want you to all stand up. And whatever you've had happen in your week this past week, Micah, how did your week go? Did you have anything that happened with the football game, your drum?
We lost.
Oh, you lost. She's a drum.
And it started before it rained.
And it rained. Okay. And then did you have any discord with? I bet you did a perfect job as drum major, didn't you?
We did perform halftime, and the week before I messed up at the end.
Okay, well, we're going to shake that off. Anybody else have anything they want to shake off? Whatever it is, that's what we're going to do this morning. Just shake it off. Shake it off. Shake it off. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Shake your whole body. Make your whole body shake. Just shake it off. Shake your legs. Shake, 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 shake. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. That's all that old debris that you sucked in with that tornado I was talking about a few minutes ago, okay? We're going to shake it off and get rid of it, and we don't want it anymore. Okay, you may sit back down now that you're clean and you shook all that off. So even if you stay in joy, gratitude, appreciation, and that vibe, 90% of the time, you've kind of figured out, haven't you, how to move on up the emotional scale and find the God vibe. You have found it. You have found it. Now, something might happen that'll give you a little bit of a vibrational wobble every once in a while, but you can deal with that. And now you've got enough experience with it that you say, oh, wait a minute. You're not going to let that bother you, are you, Judy? You're going to shake that off. That's got nothing to do with you. Shake that off back to center. Right now, back to center. Back to center. Back to center. Back to peace. Back to harmony. Back to knowing there's a divine order in all things. Divine order in all things. Divine order in all things. Dan and I had an experience recently that I wasn't going to tell anybody about it, but it's so ridiculous that I have to share it with you. Just so you'll know, okay? Okay. We've moved houses a lot, and the idea was not to move houses. That's what everybody thinks we're doing. He likes to rebuild houses. And so all of our married lives, he's rebuilt houses. We've lived in them for a while. we've mostly made money on them. And it's turned out really well. We've loved the beautiful places we've lived. And we have lived in some beautiful places by the Tennessee River. We had 18 acres overlooking the main channel. Just so beautiful, you couldn't believe it. Another place there that was a huge, beautiful house he rebuilt. And then the one some of you visited us at down in Waveland, the big yellow house we call it. And we've always lived by the water, okay? We've lived by the water. When we sold the big yellow house down in Waveland was during the pandemic, or a few years ago, and real estate was absolutely ridiculous. There was nothing available, nothing. We were going to build a house here on a lot in Gulfport. We had the lots, we had 3 right together and here in West Gulfport, and then the materials were so expensive at that time, he decided not to build it after all. So we kind of settled for a house now that we've rebuilt, and it's beautiful, but it's not by the water. And so a couple of months ago, we were driving home and saw that the house that we had wanted to buy 8 years ago maybe, and that it was up for sale. And it was right by the other lots that we owned. And so we're thinking, wow, isn't this an opportunity? And let's just check it out. And so we decided to make an offer on it, and everything's going fine. And then we get a inspection report, a couple of things wrong with it. Oh, that was a disappointment. So he goes over, checks it out. We decide to go ahead with it. Another week or 2 goes by, we get a termite report, and it's not good. So at that point we said, we don't think this is for us. We need to just forget this. This is some things, even though it looked like it was divine order, it wasn't. It was not. And we're thankful, God, for for divine order taking place here. So we forgot it. He was out of town anyway, up in Indiana. When he got home, he went over to look at it again. And he said, this is okay. I think we ought to just go ahead and buy it. I can rebuild what needs to be rebuilt. It's fine. And so I said, okay, well, if you think so, you're the one doing all the work. And has a beautiful view. You can see the port from the front porch and the harbor at Long Beach. Beautiful view. There probably isn't a better view on the coast. And so then, what was it, last week, the realtor called. She said, you're not going to believe this. You won't believe this. A water pipe burst upstairs, and there's a lot of damage. But we don't want you to see it yet. What do you mean you don't want us to see it yet? So within 2 days, Dan's saying, wait a minute, if I don't go in there to see it, you can tear up this contract right now if I don't get to go see it by noon. So he got in. He was home within like 20 minutes, so I knew there wasn't much, or I knew what the answer was going to be. And he said, it's totally ruined, totally. So we said, thank God. We were just so thankful about it. We were so thankful. We didn't own it. We didn't own those problems. We didn't take on somebody else's issues. We just took a few moments and we shook it off and said, thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you. We didn't need to buy somebody else's problems. We don't want them. We're happy right where we are. So we're looking at the better side of that, and one of the things is the truth, that it's better for me physically because I don't look out and see the water. Of course, I would walk anyway. I walk till I get down there to experience it every single morning. But just that, even that major, we didn't have our hearts set on it because that's not where our hearts are, okay? That's not where our heart resides. That's a house, just like Frank said. That's a house. That's a house only. My home is where my soul is. That's where God is. And in my imagination, if I want to, I can imagine myself being by the sea, the mountains, the mountaintop. I can imagine it all. And so instead of getting upset about it, we were just extremely grateful. Grateful. Because one of the things I had prayed for with the whole thing was divine order. All he wants, divine order. If this will make that place better and he can rebuild it and it'll be another beautiful place, that's fine. If we can enjoy residing there for a while, fine. If not, that's fine too. It's fine too. Someone asked us, weren't we annoyed about the expense we'd gone to for the expense of the inspections and the time, the invested time? And this, that, and the other. I said, no, gosh, no, are you kidding me? The opportunity to learn a lesson like that? And to be able to hear divine guidance when it's talking to you and when it's not? What a lesson that is. So how do we tune in? We've talked a lot about vibrations and songs, and sometimes that's how I tune in. We know when we've ever been grieving or in sorrow, some songs, there are some songs that go with that feeling that feel great, don't they? And we just love it, but we may go back to that a year or two later and say, wow, I don't need that anymore. I don't need that comforting vibration, melody, whatever. I've moved on. I've recovered. I've improved. But one of the ways you can get a clear signal, one that's from God, is just to stay in the stillness and silence. And it's in the silence. In the silence, we're more likely to hear the voice of God. I remember even one of the mornings when on my morning walk and I was praying, and a lot of times I like to name or number my concerns for that day. Oh, everybody has a concern list, don't they? I'll have a concern list. It'll be my friends that are going through difficult times. Maybe a family member. It may be an issue with the church that I'm praying about, or the well-being, or whatever it is. I'll that morning as I'm walking, I sort of number my concerns. I have a concern list, and it usually doesn't get above 9. Sometimes it'll just be on this hand. It'll be 5. But I remember that morning as I was walking, I was praying for the family members that have lost their young children, their youth lately. And unfortunately, I know a few. I was praying for them. That was number 1. That was my number 1 prayer that morning. And I speak them out loud as I'm walking. I just speak them out loud. And number 2, I believe I had a friend in the hospital, 2 friends in hospital, one recovering, another having back surgery, praying for them on my list, praying for all the different things. My daughter to heal. She's been on my, she's definitely on this list. Sometimes she's first, but she's always on this hand of concerns. Until she heals totally, then we'll drop her down to maybe number 10. But, and way, way, way down the list was whether or not the purchase of that house went through. And I remember thinking, you know, at one time in my life I might have cared about this. But this is so far down on the list, Either way it goes, it doesn't matter to me. Either way it goes, it doesn't matter to me. I think that the more we could do that, to let stuff go, all the energy that I see people putting into politics, I'm amazed. We could fuel the earth with that. The anger and the angst. Find a way to let that go, honey. Let that go. You're adding more peace to the world when you center yourself and you find that God vibe that I'm talking about. You can affect dozens of people around you. You can walk into a room and they'll become quiet because of your aura, your demeanor, your presence, because you're a peacekeeper. You're a faith keeper. And you're here to make a difference. And you'll know it because you've reached that place where you could reach up and touch the face of God. And you want to share it with others. I thank you today for being with me. I just love looking out at this beautiful crowd of people. And some of you I know have come from a long distance, Gaucher and Waveland and Van Cleve, and long distance to be here. Even if you just walked across the street. And this lady, this kind lady, our visitor, came from Florida to visit us this morning. How blessed we are to have you here. Each and every one of you, thank you for being my family. So let's go and be God in expression in all ways this week. Thank you for your time.